going on, everybody? We are not doing a long pre-show today. We are going to do a very fast pre-show. The text message alert system has been sent out. People should be coming in soon. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to text Canary to the number 877-740-3226. It's going to put you on a text message alert system. You'll get a text message before every show. More importantly, you can text us back at that number. It's a lot of fun. I read them on the show. It's going to be a great time. We are cutting this pre-show very short. The show is starting in just a moment. Let's do it now. Kirk versus Newsom, the debate nobody asked for. Our boy Chris Cillizza is catching on. Did you even know the Oscars happened? Who cares? Because the State of the Union was the show of the decade. Reality TV showdown is on the left and the right, and the reality TV king himself once again comes out on top. More importantly, Trump doubles down on Greenland, cuts funding and intel to Ukraine. The deep state is downsizing, but the robots have gone full-blown biblical. All this and more. This is Canary Crime News Talk, and the show starts now.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy.
You are listening to Canary Crime News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Crime News Talk. Today is March 5th, 2025. We are live to tape on episode 821, and today, GOV Unplugged. And signing on from off the grid, Razzle Dazzle. I'm your best buddy Basil, and you are not crazy.
And my name is Gonz, director of the Age of Deceit films, your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ, live to tape from the land of New Scum. Oh, New Scum, to bring you the best news, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events. And today's emergent phenomenon...
It's Newsom science, baby! Ha!
We're just going to dive right in with some Newsom science because I think we know what's going on here. Why
It's happening.
Yeah, Charlie Kirk, your favorite conservative leader.
Somebody's favorite.
Posted, we had quite the chat with a photo of Charlie Kirk himself with Gavin Newsom. It happened.
There it is. It's happening. This actually came as a little bit of a surprise, but for about 3 seconds. Of course, we are eagerly awaiting the Gavin Newsom podcast where they're going to be talking about Trump. And I think the fact that it's Charlie Kirk on first probably, I mean, I don't know if he's the first episode coming out, but one of the first guests he's announced, I think it's a pretty good chance they're just going to be talking about Trump. Do we have a release date for this episode?
No. They're keeping it real. Gavin is keeping it close to his chest. It's just gonna drop one moment when we don't even realize it.
Is there another sitting politician that you can think of that has a popular podcast?
Not as popular as Gavin Newsom.
Doubling down on stupid.
That's what Gavin Newsom's doing.
Is that the name of the podcast?
That's the name of the new podcast. Let us not forget Gavin Newsom.
The evidence is simply overwhelming. Masks keep Californians healthy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of
Healthy
course.
and oppressed.
Well,
all those things.
You know, part of the fun of this show, as we have for years employed the illusion, the metaphor, which, of course, now we know is not much of a metaphor and is quite literal, that, everything that happens, 100% of politics is theater. Sometimes it's improv, sometimes it's scripted. Sometimes, this whole thing, it's all the world's a stage, Guns. This is pretty, this isn't even a conspiracy theory
It's
anymore.
a well-known trope at this point.
Yeah, and it goes into even the concept of the Matrix, depending on how you want to look at it, how our very impressive brains, and by we, I mean human beings, want to be able to perceive the world around us. The Matrix being sort of technological simulation, thinking of the world around us as a narrative built by narrative magicians, akin to theater, is almost the exact same thing. At the very least, it's almost the exact same outcome. And more, we're seeing the whole world, or not the whole world, but populations, broader populations, bigger populations, stronger, better looking populations, starting to understand
Beautiful
that
people. Yeah.
pretty much everything that happens is not what it seems. Is not what it seems. And
Yeah, if we can put up an X-ray, we would see the veins and the inner workings, the blood flow, which is the money.
And this is very fun. This is going to be a theme for today's show, and we're trying to just crank through this because we got a lot to get to.
Yeah, Basil, I always come to the show with like some bare bones stories and some stuff, and Basil's like, well, let me work on this. Let me give you a couple links.
I put the meat on those
15 links.
Putting the
on
meat.
my head, on your head. Stay tuned, folks.
You need the bones and you need the meat. As Flippy, our favorite robot, will tell us later on in the show. It's not just about bones. You need meat on those bones, like some sort of futuristic robot that perhaps has some scriptural references. We'll get to that later.
The Bible didn't mention anything like that, 4,000 years ago or something.
So we're keeping the theme. We're setting a stage here at the top of the show for something that we've been talking about for quite some time, which is the infiltration of independent media, alt media by the mainstream media. This does not just mean anchors, news anchors, reporters. Of course, these things count, and we've had a lot of fun tracking those and watching the changes in the media atmosphere or landscape, or however you want to think about it. But also now politicians taking a bold new stance as the sort of stars of the show. No longer do they need these sort of mainstream media infrastructure as a stage to play out. Now they can just do it right in front of us. It's like an intimate, improv show at a small, kind of crummy theater down in Midtown LA or something. I don't know. That's a strange image to try to conjure, one that's almost entirely unrelatable, but those who understand, they understand. Sure. So, of course, the big news, Gons, the thing everybody's talking about, the most important thing that we could possibly talk about when it comes to showbiz and the media and the magicians creating a worldview through narrative that controls the perceptions and the realities of everybody in the country. It's the Oscars happened, Gons. Did you even know that the Oscars happened? Did you know?
I didn't know that was still a thing.
I didn't know. I had no idea.
I don't think anybody cares. Really.
It took till today for me to realize that the Oscars happened.
Oh, good.
Nobody watched, nobody cared. Apparently, Conan O'Brien hosted. And as usual, I don't know if you want to, just on the fly, if you wanted to, you could grab a picture, a screenshot, an image of some kind of the stage setup for the 2025 Oscars, because this will come as no surprise to anyone, that the occult forces that like to, wield their principles, whether they are literal or true or not, makes almost no difference because it is what they believe. Let's see if we can find a zoom out, Gons, a way bigger zoom out. Let's zoom all the way out on this image. Because the Oscars, much like the Super Bowl and much like some other big cultural events, are just rife, just saturated with
There's just a mandate.
Occult imagery.
There's a mandate to, have the Eye of Horus in there, or, I'm sure there's like a point system.
Yes,
the
of
lizard
course.
people are looking at the.
And
I can't really find one, Basil.
No way. There's no way you can't find one. Do a quick search on X. It'll be all over X. Just do Oscars. On an X search. See, that's very interesting. If you were, I don't know what you're doing, DuckDuckGo or Google or something, that you couldn't find it there. So X, we know, the new media. Let's bring it up. Let's bring it up here.
There you go.
Yes, the spell. Hey, look at that. I don't think that's the one from this year, Gons, but another great example.
What do you want me to do?
It's a giant eye. It's a giant eye. It's a giant glowing eye. And this is.
This is it.
They're
Conan O'Brien is in there talking, doing his thing. I think
that can't possibly. Then it must have some sort of shape shifting ability. That's very interesting.
Why? What did you see? Maybe you saw one from years past. You read fake news.
Sure.
You're disinformed.
disinformed about the Oscars. I'm totally willing to be disinformed about the Oscars. In fact,
I want to see what you find. What did you see?
Probably
like a mechanical stage that moves. It breathes. It's alive. It's a beast.
Or lights. We're getting way too deep on this.
Yeah, what are we doing? Who cares
this was
about the
supposed to be
Oscars?
quick. It's right here. It's right. This is the one. Oh gosh, it's everywhere. Hold on. It doesn't matter, guys.
It's
None
everywhere.
of this
It's
matters.
not everywhere. Clearly, I don't care. And
Okay, well, you get the point. Oh, here it is. Found it. It's a giant eyeball, and who cares? And nothing matters. But the punchline to this joke is nobody cares about the Oscars, but we're much more. There's been a transformation about the influence of theater, of arts on the culture, and of course the Oscars. I'd say on a yearly basis, the Oscars of politics is the State of the Union address. And this is what happened last night. I don't know why they do it so late at night. It starts at like 9 o'clock, which is about 6 o'clock for you, Gons, which is still way past your bedtime.
Is this the one with the square and compass and the eye in the middle and the checkered floor?
It doesn't matter, but it's a good one. That's a good one too. We're moving past it. The State of the Union address was just an incredible display of theater, of reality TV. You cannot convince me otherwise. We're going to be, of course, the internet is just flooded with all sorts of things. We've tried our best to structure things here to perhaps reveal maybe another layer beneath the mask. But let's go first. Oh, you know what?
Are we going to thank executive producers?
Oh, I don't know. You just jumped right into it, so I thought I was going to jump right into it.
Oh, okay. Well, I wasn't going to jump right into it, but yeah, sure. I mean, I only did the jump writing in because you had mentioned that I should do the Newsom at the top, so I did.
Oh,
as
yeah.
the emergent phenomenon.
You went all the way up to the top. Okay, that's great. Yeah. Well, let's do that. We're on the value for value model. Let's thank some executive producers because we do have a couple. Then we're going to jump right in.
Executive producers.
We're on the value for value model, folks, which means we don't take any money from corporations, commies, or cartels. We're entirely funded by people who get value from what happens here. That value could take any form, and it's not up to us to decide what that is. It's up to you. This is primarily a way for this show to keep its at least spiritual credibility by not tying ourselves to the forces of mammon, the global theology of advertising, which has monetized occult principles to control your behavior, all while serving corporate incentives at the expense of your mind and free will. So we're on the value for value model. If you want to become a producer of the show, because that's what it is. I take it very seriously. Our producers take it very seriously, because that's what you are. You go to canarycry.support to support the show with your time, your talent, or your treasure. The executive producers are people who come in for $100 or more for any individual episode, and that's why we thank them here at the top. Guns, are you ready?
Ready.
Okay. Number one, we're thanking the one, the only Dame Sarah of the Shadows.
Where'd you find this?
Who's actually on a
Thank you, Dame Sarah.
2-episode executive producer streak.
Ooh, there's a streak. Nice.
Yeah, she's on a streak.
Thank you, Dame Sarah.
Yeah, she sent in a note here. It says, "Glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, as it was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be. Glory, world without end. Amen." Thank you for the CCR episodes and the call-in shows. Thank you so much, Dame Sarah. What a wonderful note.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Next up, we have, of course, Sir Alex Protocol V2, Baron of the Brian Protocol.
Where'd you find this?
Coming in for $100.33.
33.
And of course, on a 375 episode streak and a 28 episode executive producer streak.
Thank you, Sir Alex Alex Protocol.
Thank you very much, Sir Alex Protocol. Next up, we've got executive producer Sir Igorius, Baron of the Squatting Slavs.
Where'd you find this?
Sir Igorius.
He's back. He's here. Sir Igorius comes in for $111.11. One.
11.
Thank you, Sir Igorius, Baron of the Squatting Slavs. I didn't see a note. He does usually send a note, but if I missed it, I apologize. We'll read it on the next episode. So there you go. Thank these people. Thank God for these people. These people are making it happen. And again, a huge shout out, a huge thank you to every single one of our monthly producers who makes it possible for this show and us to wake up in the morning, look 7 days ahead and say, hey, we're going to be able to do the show. We have something to work with. And we highly encourage anybody, if the show brings any value to your life, you just decide what that is. You take your time, you take your talent, you take your treasure, whatever God has blessed you with in surplus, and go ahead and go to canarycry.support and put it towards the show. Create some value with us.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Come on. There you go.
Messy. Here we go. Was looking for a way, Guns. We were looking for a way exactly how the State of the Union is to be covered. And it's not easy, especially because we have a conundrum that is when something big like this happens, everybody's covering it. The stuff is all over the place, the videos, the clips, the this, the that. And while we know that some people rely on this show to get the news for these things, like primarily, like they're not on X, God bless them.
Right, they're not watching mainstream news.
They're not watching.
They're free from all that. The only way they find out about anything is through this show. We feel
so. We have a
responsibility.
Yes, we have a responsibility to not skip over something just because it's saturating. But at the same time, it's important to have a particular
Balanced,
Canary Cry, balanced, biblical look at these sorts of things. So, one thing that stuck out to me in a big way was a play that I saw happen in real time from the one, the only, Chris Shilzilla.
Oh,
our man.
Hey, we're starting with Chris Shilzilla.
We're starting with Chris Shilzilla, baby, and Trump,
gosh.
of course. Let's do it.
Yeah. All right, let's do it.
Shill for sure.
And
So
it's
we
Trump.
have.
We will launch a new age.
They love killing.
So for those who might be new to the show, every show is somebody's first show. Chris Shilzilla is former CNN editor-at-large, kind of a vlogger. He was CNN's vlogger, primarily appearing on the YouTube channel. He got to go into the office once in a while. It was a very big deal. We were cheering for him the whole time. Known for a sort of heinous reporting. Reporting is strong.
Reporting is very generous of a term.
It's
what
like
he did at CNN.
he had a great job and did a great job of just sort of saying whatever he thought and saying it in a way that didn't necessarily, jive with what you'd consider traditional mainstream media.
No, he was still especially when he was at CNN. He was parroting all the points, but he was
the
doing
message
it in a way,
is the same.
Yeah,
the message is the same, but it was, very
it's filtered,
unprofessional.
Shilzilla filter.
It was and I don't mean this in a bad way, because here's the thing: we have flipped on Chris Shilzilla. When he lost his job at CNN, we of course were encouraging him as longtime fans to stay independent, go independent, and now more and more he's becoming an independent boy, which we're very proud of him, and he's learning in his newfound independence that he's actually allowed to have original thoughts, which we are again very excited for him.
Let me put air quotes around independent, because he is attached with a think tank.
Yeah, we don't know if he still is though, but he
Did he
has.
leave?
Yeah, there was, yeah, I don't know if I want to litigate this now, but, he had a couple opportunities. He did join a think tank, like you do when you're in mainstream media and the system wants to keep you alive. So he's not necessarily independent, but he advocates for true independence. I mean, heck, if there's a think tank that wanted to support us, I wouldn't be, I'd be interested in hearing the offer. I mean, come on.
I have absolute breaking news on Chris
Here we
Cillizza right
go.
now.
Okay,
Absolute breaking
break
news.
it. Break it.
This is Yahoo News mirroring deadline. Chris
No!
Cillizza to join
No!
News Nation as a contributor. He's a contributor. He's not going to be an Throw out
Today.
everything you just said
Oh,
just now,
no.
because Chris Cillizza is joining News Nation as a contributor. Here he is. Let's
Just
do it.
breaking
Let's
this
go.
very morning. Oh, Christopher, come on. Now, it's long been theorized,
Cannot
mostly
make this
by
up.
us,
This
but
is
now
funny.
it's long been theorized that Chris, here's the thing. We are Chris's biggest fans. Even, look, I know we've said we've razzed him. We've razzed him pretty hard over the years.
What? What are you talking about?
I hope
just
he
clipping
understands.
him.
Lots of
I know.
meatballs,
He
delicious.
just likes meatballs.
I
That's-
think now he understands that he shouldn't see us as an enemy. We are
we're
a
not- we're not
peer.
enemy,
We are
yeah.
peers, and peers razz each other. That's at least that's the narrative that I would like to make sure he hears, because we're 99.9% sure that either he or someone around him is aware of our obsession with him, because for many years now, 4 or 5 years, nobody's reporting on Chris.
Right.
We
Nobody's doing
we
that. We're
are
the
the
only
number
people.
one Chris fan club. That is us. And I'll tell you what, if I heard that there was a podcast that talked about me pretty regularly, I would probably at least have someone check in on it for me. And there's been times over the years where, we'll have a segment and then he'll post something about Nephilim, or he'll do some googly eyes in some weird places. We're pretty sure that he is at least aware that we're his biggest fans. So we're going to keep it that way. And another instance of this will come up in a moment. But Chris really sent it on X, making sure that his former CNN-based audience was aware that he's now independent. He's unchained. He can say whatever he wants. He can say whatever he thinks. And I want to start with, now we're going to observe the State of the Union speech partially through the eyes and the feed of Chris Cillizza. And one notable thing here was he posted the CBS poll for the Trump speech. This is CBS doing a news poll. Large majority of viewers approve of Donald Trump's speech among speech watchers. 76% of viewers.
Wow.
This is CBS poll. 76% of people polled by CBS approve of Trump's State of the Union speech. So keep that in mind. There was also another CNN poll where I think it was in total 64% of viewers approved of the message. So very, very important speech, landslide approval. Oh, geez, I keep clicking this link. Sorry about that. Let me get out of here. But let's start with this clip from Trump.
Haven't started yet? Okay.
This clip from Trump, where he talks about the Democrats. He kind of started out his speech this way. And now, in the context of knowing that the vast majority of presumably even Democrat viewers approved of his speech, let's see. Let's get this little piece at the beginning here.
This is my 5th such speech to Congress. And once again, I look at the Democrats in front of me, and I realize there is absolutely nothing I can say to make them happy or to make them stand or smile or applaud. Nothing I can do. I could find a cure to the most devastating disease, a disease that would wipe out entire nations, or announce the answers to the greatest economy in history, or the stoppage of crime to the lowest levels ever recorded. And these people sitting right here will not clap, will not stand, and certainly will not cheer for these astronomical achievements. They won't do it, no matter what. Five times I've been up here. It's very sad, and it just shouldn't be this way.
It shows them emotionless, cold. Holding up the signs.
There's the signs.
Okay, so for people just listening, it cuts from Trump at the podium to the Democrats, they all sitting there with their sad faces, and they start holding up little signs. They have what look like little batons or something, and or I don't know, like ping pong.
They're like auction signs,
Yeah,
little
auction
round
signs,
signs, and they'll say things like false or
Musk steals is the one that everyone's
Musk
holding up
steals,
here.
which is
Save
a weird
Mexico.
one. Save Mexico. What does that even mean? Save Mexico from what?
From Trump. He's going to take over Mexico. Come on. He already renamed the Gulf of Mexico to Gulf of America.
Yeah, next
He's a totalitarian dictator. He's taken over the whole thing.
When they say save Mexico, they don't mean the literal country. They just mean the name of the country because
the name
Trump's
of the
going
Gulf.
to rename it. Let's see. Amplify the signal says ping pong paddles. Yes, they look like little ping pong paddles.
Yeah.
Now, before we get more into the ping pong paddles, let's get Chris Cillizza's 1 minute breakdown here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Welcome to the morning, Wednesday, March 5th. It's early. I've got the coffee.
early.
Let's talk about Donald Trump.
He's got the coffee.
So, I got a lot to say. Let me first say that I think it was a very, very effective speech, and I will explain why. Donald Trump, as we've talked about many times, is a reality TV show producer and star. And he has a sense for moments. And what we saw in that speech, which was way too long, longest speech to Congress we've ever seen, was 100 minutes long.
Oh, no.
What we saw in that speech was a master manipulator of emotion at work.
Interesting.
Time and time again, I thought that Trump very effectively delivered a message on issues that are winners for him.
Substack.
There's a little tease so you can go catch
A
the rest.
master manipulator, huh? He could just sit right in with our show and talk
So
about the
this
MAGA
is
magic.
Very interesting. And look, I'm aware that these things could just be coincidences, but I will mention that on Monday's show, I did sort of apropos of nothing go into a full-on rant about Trump's position as sort of a master illusory magician and how he's a reality TV show star, a reality
which is
TV
a point
show
that
producer.
Which is a point that we've brought up a lot over the years.
Of course, this
It's
is not
just
new.
last Monday.
This is
It's
not
just like,
new
yeah.
information, but
Right.
it was particularly in the context of like, hey, you know, a lot of people think that we're like MAGA, which is very interesting to me, but also I guess not surprising because I'm assuming that they're people who, you know, are just kind of looking for what they want to hear. I mean, I don't blame them for this. This is kind of whatever the gun is loaded for most people when they're cruising around looking for media. And to hear us talk about Trump being a master manipulator
Chaos magician.
and reality TV show chaos magician who is able to wield the
What are you,
the
a
media,
Democrat?
this
You're
sort
a
of-
liberal progressive Democrat loser is what you are.
Yeah, he's not just he's in showbiz. He's a showman. This is who he is. And of course, I think the spiritual mechanics, the spiritual reality that we know is that there's a lot of occult principles going into that, and it's very effective. And that's how you get to be Trump. That's how you get to be the president. So I thought there are some interesting I don't know, parallels to the wording and points that Chris was making there. But look, great minds think alike, okay? Great
What
minds
trophy?
think alike.
What trophy is that behind Chris? I see the Underwood.
It's probably an Emmy. That's an
That's
Emmy.
what I was going to say. That is an Emmy, right?
Yeah. But
Wow,
the-
he's
you
won
can
an
get
Emmy?
you can get Emmys for digital media. I'm sure he got like an online news Emmy for his YouTube channel or something. Yes, I know some people who have some Emmys, and they're not the traditional Emmys that you see on the the award show. It's like for web content and stuff, but it's still an Emmy. You still get the statue. It's a good time. Okay, now I find it helpful here because there's so much. There was so much. Like Chris said, it was an hour speech, very long.
100 minutes, yeah.
I'll not bury the lead here because we started this conversation last episode about the perfection that Trump has reached in his ability to wield the media, bend it kind of to his will, use it better than any other magician or wizard that we've maybe ever seen. His power is so great that the establishment itself, those who consider themselves the foundation of the matter, are sort of tossed around by his sort of force that he can wield.
Yeah, it's apparent in markets as well. If you pay attention to the markets, based on his tariffs and all this kind of stuff, you can see the markets changing and manipulated. And that's been true forever in terms of presidents and what they say and what they do. But there's there's this new thing called blockchains where you can see certain transactions, and there's some shady longs and short positions that have been taken the last month and a half or so that seem to be very well timed with Trump's announcement or public statements about certain things.
And time. Crypto talk is over. Very good, though. You nailed it. You got it right there, right there to the limit. Yes, very powerful in a lot of ways, this guy. And so anyways, the whole 100 minutes of his speech was basically just viral clip after viral clip after viral clip.
He gave content for like 2 weeks at least.
Perfectly crafted.
Or maybe the whole year, yeah.
There would be no possible way that we could go through it all. So instead, we're looking at it through the eyes of Chris Shilzilla, and here is one of his many posts about it. He says, Donald Trump created a series of shareable, I will not say viral, moments around issues where 80% of the public agrees with his stance. A few examples. I actually think, I'll give Chris some credit while we're here. I think maybe, I don't know what his purpose is for separating shareable with viral, but I could find a pretty intellectually tight reason to not use the word viral as far as, maybe the effect that it has, not necessarily just referring to like COVID or something like that,
sure.
But using the magical words set forth by the crafters. Anywho, shareable. And he has this screenshot from apparently an article that he wrote. He says, a few examples. He blasted biological males playing women's sports and singled out a girl in the crowd who had been injured when she was struck in the face by a volleyball hit by a biological male. So hitting this topic, but not just ranting about the topic, but actually having the person there, the very powerful. And during all of this, you'll learn the Democrats completely silent, sneering, drooling on Nancy Pelosi's part, holding up signs, just being very nasty the whole time. So, yes, very powerful to have the actual victim, an actual physical victim of this practice, there in the room. And when the Democrats sneer or disagree or don't clap for the victim, very powerful message going out there. Goes on. He rattled off a long list of government spending, totaling in the hundreds of millions of dollars on ridiculous programs like creating transgender mice that the Department of Government Efficiency has had uncovered. So there you go. Very important thing. He touted, again, Democrats, huge fans of this government spending, as was evident by a clip where he says we're spending a bunch of money on Ukraine, not getting anything back, that the Democrats want it to continue for 5 more years. And the Democrat side just like erupted in clapping. Like, yes, we want war to continue. We want endless war. Another great opportunity for people to kind of see what's going on. He touted the Laken-Riley Act, which came in response to the murder of a girl in her 20s by an undocumented immigrant who had committed several previous crimes. That Riley's mother and sister were in attendance at the speech made it even more poignant. He named a nature sanctuary after a 12-year-old girl who had been abducted and murdered by 2 undocumented immigrants. He did it during the speech itself, showing off the executive order while the girl's mother mouthed thank you to him from the gallery.
Yeah.
Boo,
Powerful
says the
moment.
Democrats.
Yeah, Democrats don't like. They do similar things, don't they? But I'm
All the
trying to
time.
remember the one when we really covered the State of the Union with Biden. They were applauding the Ukrainian ambassador or something. That was like the big thing that I remember Biden doing. And the whole place stands up and claps.
Now,
and she was also the one that had a facepalm when Zelensky had his little issue with President Trump last week.
Now, I don't know. I didn't see this clip. I didn't see it happen. I would be interested to see if he signed the executive order there from the podium, because then he would be getting the
sound.
The
I don't think
hypnotic,
he did.
magical sound.
I was tuning in, and I think he asked for the executive order from
Just showed it
JD
off.
Vance, and Vance hands it to him, and he holds it up, and he was doing the thing where he shows off the little binder there.
Next, he made a 13-year-old boy who had brain cancer an honorary Secret Service agent, badge and all. The boy, who, yes, was in attendance, was shocked and thrilled. He announced that high school senior in the crowd had achieved his dream by being accepted to the United States Naval Academy. I think it was West Point.
I thought it was West Point.
It was West Point.
Fake news! Fake news, Chris Cillizza.
He's mistaking West Point for Annapolis, I believe. He singled out a mom whose daughter had been counseled to make a gender transition at school without her parents' knowledge or consent. So these are some of the examples of the 80-20 issues that Trump really focused on that really did a great job of illustrating for everybody in the world even. That, these topics, which 80% of people would agree with, the Democrats being on the 20% side of things, and just repeatedly making the Democrats sort of out themselves as the minority on some pretty basic common sense issues.
Oh, it's not. Well, we've already known that, but it's just like I guess the quote unquote brilliance with all of this is to put people that have been affected in the stands and everything, and it creates this image of, wow, the Democrats truly are villains. Like, they're really bad people with cold hearts. And they walk right into it too.
Oscars. Yes, it's the media, it's the ritual, it's the spell.
Right.
You know all these things, but to compact them all into a sort of bullet-pointed ritual that is going around the world, very powerful. Now, onto the little signs. The little signs. Chris Cillizza had this post here. Democrats have to be deeply unhappy with how that went. Al Green shouting at Trump and refusing to stop and having not be removed is a terrible look for Democrats. We'll get to that. Trump won. He is the president. You don't have to agree with him, but he has earned the right to give the speech. Whoa. Okay. All right.
Whoa.
Also,
Magazilla. Shill Magazilla.
Also, the little signs Democrats had were dumb. Made them look like they were at an auction. Now, let's talk about the little signs.
Zinger.
I know, he's getting them. He's getting them.
Look at him
now,
go.
Let me lay out a quick thing here. Just, again, not to bury the lead. My theory is this, and I think you agree with my theory, right?
I don't know.
As I shared it before. Yes, we've never talked about this before. I have a theory, and that is that there is a saboteur. I think there is a saboteur on the Democrat side. I think the Democrats know they have an image problem. They know they can't meme. They know they're losing the internet battle. They know they're losing. and they know they have an image problem. They know that they've talked about it. They've been outspoken about this. They say we need a Joe Rogan. They're losing the podcast battle. They're faking all these podcast numbers to dethrone Joe Rogan, all this stuff. There is someone or someones or some sort of agency who the Democrats have brought in to try to coach them, control them, probably more like it, to try to improve their online game. Oh my gosh, this includes Jasmine Crockett. We didn't bring this, but Jasmine Crockett posted a X post that said, I'm not going to the speech. You shouldn't either. It's so dumb. And we're standing up against tyranny. And it included a video of her doing the stupidest TikTok dance that anyone has ever seen in her office, in her suit, with her aides or whoever those were. And they did it to the soundtrack of the Super Bowl halftime show song. What was that guy's name? Kendrick Lamar. This, to refer again, yes, let's play it in a moment, to refer back to another absolute flop of an occult ritual at the Super Bowl halftime show. And use it to sort of try to counterspell whatever Trump is doing here. Go ahead. Start this from the beginning. The viewers will enjoy it. The podcast listeners, just use your imagination. The most embarrassing possible cringeworthy dance that you could see an elected official do.
She's got a lot of awards, it looks like, on the table there.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Oh, no. It's a cultural divide. I'm going to get it on the flow. You really about to do it? 40 acres in the mule. This is bigger than the music. You really about to do it? Yeah, they tried to rig the game, but you can't fake influence. Think it on it like that. Hey, I'm tripping, I'm sliding, I'm riding through the back like
We're going to get copyrighted.
You think this is a live performance? I wonder if we talk about it. All right, go ahead and stop it there. It ends there. Bad. But it's so bad. It's so bad. And it has nothing to do with anything. And whoever told Jasmine Crockett to do this, I don't think has her best interests in mind. I think opposite. I think there is someone that the Democrats have brought in. And I think there might be, maybe, I don't know who it is, but either a secret conservative or the Republicans sort of, there's some subterfuge going on here, because every single move that the left has made, I'll just say in the last 24 hours, every single move that they had made, which is so obviously orchestrated for online, quote, success, has 100% caused damage. There is no benefit to any of these things. And the little signs are another example of this. Now, if we see if we can get, yes, I think this first link is a picture of the little signs. Yes. Yeah, here it is. So this is kind of just
Save Medicaid. It wasn't Mexico, I guess.
Okay.
Save Medicaid. It was
there's
smaller. I couldn't see it.
Here's just a general picture of them holding up the sign: Save Medicaid, false, false, false. Musk steals, just these kind of things. And they would just hold it up silently to kind of protest or something. And that's really what this is. It's alluding to protest, to like street protest, things like that.
Who's the one that didn't get anything and had to bring a little whiteboard?
A little whiteboard. I don't know who that is, but they were like, no, I don't want one of your pre-made signs. I want to write mine throughout the whole thing. And there is also the this is not normal sign as well. That kind of went viral. Now, any self-respecting internet professional, if you're a PR person, a marketing professional, if you're just on X, if you are a meme lord living in your mom's basement, doesn't matter who you are. If you are claiming to have any competency with the internet and you want to make a positive impact, you do not have the person hold up a sign, because this inevitably 100% every time results in people taking that image and making the signs say whatever they want. I think this sign idea was an absolute masterwork of sabotage. to the Democrats, where they obviously have no idea what they're doing on the internet. They never have, the Democrats. And they're like, okay, let's bring in a professional. The professional is like, okay, how about you all hold up signs? And that'll be good. That'll really send a message. It'll be like a protest. And then boom, inevitably, just go down the line here. Those signs just got turned into whatever people wanted. This one, they edited it to be Trump 2028 signs. So you just have all the Democrats holding up Trump 2028 signs. This one, they wrote TDS, Trump derangement syndrome, on all the signs. And they just kept getting worse. This one, they're all holding up different signs. America last. Gons has the R word one.
We could say this word now, apparently. Yeah, that's been the thing since Trump's back in office.
I'm sure we'd get some points, but yeah. Then there's this one, America last. I voted against women. I love war. I steal something. I can barely read it, but there you go.
I steal from taxpayers is what it says.
And the last one here is from CPAC. CPAC itself, the Conservative Political Action Committee, actually put, like, I'm thinking, so CPAC, super, official conservative superpower, and they put their
they
water
even caption it. They caption it here. We fixed your signs for you, which is a pretty common, internet thing to do. Mimetically, is we fixed whatever it is that's.
So they are taking responsibility for having redone these signs. They have their watermark on the thing. I mean, perfect sort of meme magic moment. I think somebody from the conservative side has infiltrated the Democrat social media whatever. And, we talked about how the Democrats are going to be spending billions and billions of dollars to try to replicate the conservative online movement with podcasts and whatever. I think they made a budget for about $1 billion. They said, we're going to spend $1 billion. We're going to bring in an expert in social media. Maybe they even thought like, oh, this guy did it for Trump. I don't know who, we'll have to look up who it is. I could see them going, we have $1 billion. We can poach the conservatives' social media person, give them the $1 billion. They leave the conservatives. They come to our side. Wahaha, we win. We stole your guy. And then the guy who's getting paid $1 billion is just setting them up time and time again for this incredibly embarrassing display.
And sometimes it reminds me of, sometimes they meme themselves when they say stuff like this.
I love the Great Reset.
These are mainstream media talking heads saying things that, we would make fun of, I guess. But
yeah, of course. Because a lot of it is they just don't know what they're saying. I mean, nobody's thinking about it. The talking point got made up in a boardroom somewhere or a dark, smoky room or whatever, and sort of out-of-touch people doing it. So another example of this is the scripted sort of Mockingbird style. We've seen for many years. You can see many years the compilations of 2, 3, 5, 10, 15, 30 news organizations, local news organizations, all reading the exact same script to a news story. This is, goes back to Operation Mockingbird. This is CIA sort of propaganda, dissemination through the news system. But, the mainstream news doesn't really matter anymore, so they have to change their tactic. And again, who are now the operators in the media? It's not reporters. It's barely even, in this case, for the Democrats, it's not even influencers, because the Democrats cannot find quality influencers. They have Harry Sisson, who is just the easiest person to revile. Hassan Piker is like another one of their guys who's just fully I don't even know how to describe him without like breaking rules here on YouTube or something. Just sort of a diabolical sort of.
It's not like we don't break rules on YouTube before and get punished for it, so
I mean, he's just like the type of guy. Well, I'll tell you, one of them is he pretty regularly calls for violence against Republicans, like just blatantly, not even whatever. He'll just say like somebody needs to go
Somebody needs to strike him down.
Yeah, but not even metaphorical. He'll just literally say, like, somebody go shoot this person. Anyways. Yeah, that gets into a longer conversation. But so who are the operators that the Democrats are trying to make into their influencers? It's the politicians themselves. Because really, at the end of it, the Democrat politicians themselves have the biggest reach for the Democrats, which is not always the case for conservatives. Trump being an exception, but the conservative commentators and influencers, the Charlie Kirks, the Tim Pools, the Dan Bonginos, they have a significantly larger online reach than conservative politicians. Marco Rubio is not like getting a million hits on something. So that's how the two sides are differing. Now, what we had here is a Mockingbird-style script sent out to, in this case, a couple of Democrat politicians to put out a scripted message. This is from Schumer and Pocahontas.
Oh, no. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
This is, okay. Here
When I win, I will immediately bring prices down starting on day one.
That ain't true. That's what you just heard. Since day one of Donald Trump's presidency, prices are not down, they're up. Inflation is getting worse, not better. The prices of groceries, gas, housing, eggs, of essentials, it's not getting better, it's getting worse. Meanwhile, Donald Trump has done nothing. Goose eggs to lower prices for you. Instead, he's pardoned violent criminals who savagely beat police officers on January 6th. That's an effing disgrace. He's letting Elon Musk take a chainsaw to vital government programs and then, even worse, giving him access to Americans.
This is kind of driving me a little crazy, by the way, to have both of them talking at the same time. I know they're saying the same thing.
Part of the point here is to see the editing is exactly the same. The clips that they are splicing in for the different things that they're saying are the exact same clips. This is quite obviously scripted, edited, created by the exact same person or agency. It's a template. It's a campaign. Now, the funny part of this was it started with these two. And then the next hour was like, oh my gosh, there's 3 of them. And they post the next one. And they're like, oh my gosh, there's 6 of them. Oh, there's 7. Oh, there's like 23 Democrat politicians who all have the exact same video, exact same script. Somebody put them all together here on this. Play this one just for fun. It's impossible to understand. There's way too many, but you'll get the point.
When I win, I will immediately bring prices down starting on day one.
There you go. That's enough. I know. There's too many.
This is actually what hell sounds like. You dig far enough down into the ground. This is what you hear. You just hear 30 Democrats repeating the same thing.
It's what you hear screaming from that hole in the ground in Russia.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, you can see when you play them all together, not only is the editing the exact same, the script the exact same, the clip is the exact same, but the visual hook is the exact same.
Yes,
and the visual hook.
They all say a bad word at the beginning, which is bleeped out, but they're standing up and then they sit down to go into their little
single
rant.
one.
Interesting.
Start standing up, they sit down. So the script on this is not just the words, it's not just the editing or the visuals, but it's also the physical actions, the physical movements. In theater, they call this blocking. The blocking of these actors is exactly the same, which is pretty incredible. And if you're trying to take like a pretty broad, both spiritual and intellectual look at the transition that we're all making right now in the media, which is to say the sort of crafted reality that's been created for all of us, which then in turn, programs us with different triggers, with different, the whole thing. We're seeing it from this other angle now, a very desperate attempt for the Democrats. And again, 20, 30 of them, all the same. Somebody is setting these people up. I mean, the compilation of the scripted news event is like a standard. It's a staple for the, I don't know what you say it, just the people who are not buying it anymore, the people who are sort of waking up from the illusion or whatever.
Sure.
It's so standard. It would be as sort of standard as like digging into the occult symbology of the Super Bowl or the occult.
Right.
You know,
it's a common, it's a common thing
rather.
that people are looking for now are these patterns and stuff. So yeah, it's
And
almost
so
handed on a
knowing it.
platter. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's also them doubling down too, you know, which is maybe the point, you know, maybe the whole idea of maybe infiltration or whoever that person or group or whoever have been controlling it, because this is an old tactic. Obviously, it's been around for a long time, but to make it so obvious now is maybe the, you know, I don't know, cat's out of the bag, or almost flaunting the fact that they can do this. It's almost a flex, you know, like an invisible flex from the background. Like, yeah, look what we can do. Whether it's an infiltrated, you know, like a conservative infiltrating the left, whatever, you know, infrastructure, political infrastructure to facilitate this, to embarrass them, or the social engineers behind the scenes know what it is now. They know that it's content for the right. They know that all these people will listen. They don't question anything. They will just simply do what they are asked. Yeah, it's a very interesting play when you start looking at it from a 1,000-foot view instead of just in the political right-left paradigm. So
it's so specifically feeding the right exactly what they need.
What they want.
Or if we talk about this in a uniparty, let's even take it away from the left-right paradigm. Just to make a point here, because a lot of people think we're sort of like Republicans, which we are not Republicans here on the show.
It's weird.
Take it out of the left-right paradigm, which is in itself an obvious illusion that is crafted for control purposes. If you think of it as the uniparty, there is no two parties. There's one party. There's one ruling elite who control the sentiment of the entire population. How would you be able, I mean, every single piece of media that these Democrats put out feeds perfectly in to a ongoing campaign to continue shifting former Democrats, maybe middle of the road Democrats, you know, maybe not the lunatics, and giving them the excuse, the reason, the permission to change over in their sort of ideological alignment to the right. And we know that this is uniparty, sort of left-right paradigm, illusory narrative crafting, because we know, and this is why I'm so confused why people think that we're Republicans, we know that Trump is not a Republican in the way that people liked, well, that the system would like us to think of him as a Republican. It's technopopulism. This is a century, maybe even more centuries old plan being played out generation by generation for a technocratic sort of beast system. I mean, again, taking it to the spiritual aspect, this is straight up beast system revelation. Even if possible, even the elect will be deceived, creating this pushback against, evil global blah, 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 in order to unify everybody, to give the techno-populists, the AI loving, the blockchain loving, the digital ID loving, the, North American Union loving sort of Trump side of things, exactly what they need to carry out a centuries-long plan for world domination. I mean, it's not even a theory anymore. We're just watching it come out step by step.
Yeah.
And just so everybody knows, Chris Cillizza is still on it. He's a friend of the show, almost certainly catches somebody's telling him something about what's going on here. He has this post. That was a very effective speech. You can hate it or him, but that speech was aimed squarely at issues where the public is with Trump and filled with made for sharing moments. A master image maker at work. And you can hate him and acknowledge that's true. Interesting concept to be communicating, Chris. But yes, master image maker, master sort of illusory magician. These are all different ways.
Is this his way to reference the image of the beast? Is that Chris's foray into Bible prophecy. I'd like to see him step into it.
And check out.
Let's go.
Yes, and check out this next post from him. He really went off, and he got a lot of good feedback, so I think we're going to be getting more of this from him. He gets not just good feedback, he also gets absolutely slammed by Democrats and bots and crazy lunatics, which I think is pushing him more and more in one direction.
Yeah. The comments are not nice to him.
No. He says, this speech will play very well for Trump. Yes, he has repeated a whole lot of lies he tells all the time, but he has also poignantly highlighted trans issues, wokeness, Lake and Riley, etc., and those are 80-20 issues for the public in his favor. The speech is a masterwork of shareable content and moment. Trump is a reality TV show producer and star, and he is showing it tonight. So there you go. Chris is he's right on the edge here of going full on sort of Canary cry beast system.
Just show up on one of your streams wearing a bird outfit, Chris. We won't
post some more googly eyes.
We want googly eyes or some birds.
Put some more googly eyes in the next 48 hours. Yeah. All right, one last thing to make the point about the reality TV aspect, the theatrical aspect of the entire event, and our entire sort of illusory world crafted by narrative magicians who control the reality of others. There was, of course, the reality TV moment of Al Green disrupting the event and getting kicked out. Here's now one interesting thing about this. This is the only clip in which I could find any brief, quiet semblance of what he actually was saying. Everybody cuts it out, or you can't hear it at all. This is Al Green. He stands up and he starts shouting and he's protesting and he's making a big deal. The other Democrats, you can tell maybe some of the other Democrats were supposed to join him and they didn't.
They chickened out. Cold feet, cold hearts and cold feet.
I couldn't find almost anywhere what he was saying. Nobody was. It's almost been completely scrubbed, which is another great example of the sort of masterful media work going on here. It doesn't matter what he was saying, but whatever he was saying, his protest didn't even make it to the people. The only thing that made it to the people was him getting kicked out. So we can kind of try to listen to it here.
Mr. Green, take your seat. Take your seat, sir. Take your seat. Finding that members continue to engage in willful and concerted disruption of proper decorum, the chair now directs the Sergeant-at-Arms to restore order. Remove this gentleman from the chamber. Members are directed to uphold and maintain decorum in the House. Mr. President, you continue.
Thank you.
It ends on his face. He's honestly
walking right by the camera.
He's very interesting.
I still couldn't hear anything he said.
Could barely hear it. Now, a couple interesting things that I noticed. First of all, some symbology. There are several notable Democrats who are all walking with canes. Yeah, and their canes are very flashy. They have these gold. Nancy Pelosi had one. You see canes all over the Democrat side. Just very interesting, they're old. They are doing a bad job navigating. They're having trouble walking. Put that into a metaphorical sense there. You get a good example of what the Democrats are dealing with. The other interesting thing was when Mike Johnson is kicking him out, he is reading from a script, the kicking him out language.
Yes.
Now, is it possible he just has like a big book of the things you're supposed to say when different things happen? They're very into I don't know what to call it, ritual and script when it comes to doing congressional things, these parliamentary what's the word? Systems, I guess. But if you look at Mike Johnson, he's reading something pretty blatantly from on his desk. Was he expecting somebody to get kicked out? Was it planned ahead of time? I don't know.
There's supposedly some protocols.
Yes,
meant for State of the Union addresses. So if there is some disorder,
is there a word? Yeah, is there a word for word thing you're supposed to say when you're kicking someone out? But he had it right there. So very interesting. What was the last thing? Did you have anything to note?
I just was trying to understand what he was saying, but you couldn't tell at all.
You couldn't tell.
I mean, he's waving his cane around, so that's the thing. I guess that's the.
You know, I'm not trying to say that it doesn't exist, but I watched maybe 30 different clips trying to find one that I could tell what he was saying. Could not find it anywhere. So again, just another example of how zero positive media came out from any of these stunts.
Yeah,
not a single stunt.
You're right. If this was better planned, if I was the Al Green, team, I'd be like, bro, you have to be mic'd up for this.
Or somebody get a phone.
Right. Like even if the microphones and all the actual broadcast doesn't pick it up, we'll have a recording that we can share for our constituency and all that kind of there's just no preparation here. I don't know. It's I don't know.
Psalm 40 says he looks like Saddam. He kind of does look like Saddam Hussein. I don't think Psalm 40 means it this way. I don't mean it.
Go down that rabbit trail.
I don't even mean it as an insult. It's just he just kind of looks like Saddam Hussein.
It's a conspiracy theory.
Oh, it's like Trudeau and
Hussein never died. He just
Project Paperclip for Saddam Hussein. They just brought him over.
Yeah.
All right. Now, again, just to bring it home, that not a single one of these, honestly, very intentionally thought out stunts by the Democrats, not a single one turned out. Here's a clip from CNN about a poll regarding Al Green getting kicked out.
During the course of the event, which is wanting to get reaction on Congressman Al Green's antics and being ejected, 80% of speech watchers said that the Democratic congressman's interrupting of Trump's speech was inappropriate. Only 20% of speech watchers thought what Green did was appropriate.
Wow. 80%.
80-20.
80-20, which is another very interesting piece of messaging, because over and over and over, it's not just Chris Shilzilla, but it's mainstream media as well as all the, online alternative media. They keep talking about this 80-20 concept, the 80-20 concept, where Trump is speaking to things where 80% of people will agree with him. The 20% of people who disagree with him are siding with the Democrats, but that's a very big imbalance. And the Democrats are sort of almost proudly taking this 20% side of things, which is hurting them very badly. And that number plays out exactly on the dot as an 80-20 issue on this Al Green standing up to protest, which formerly would have come across as this brave thing, this, oh my gosh, can you believe that he broke decorum to save our country from literal Hitler? We all need to be more like Al Green. And we need,
Freudian slip. There it is. He's the same guy. We found Saddam. So he never passed away. He just got turned into Al Green.
The very specific messaging, the signals, the whole way the whole thing planned out. Just a magnificent piece of political theater.
This really does feel like a deconstruction of this legacy, this last, 20, 30 years of the Democrat Party, because they need a great reset. The Democrats need a great reset.
Yeah.
I can picture this just getting worse and worse, and then some charismatic person will step in and save the Democrat Party. They're trying to craft their own Trump, but they're not going to do it.
Whoever steps in, you're right. Just to add on to what you're saying, whoever they get to step in, it'll be a next Obama. They are so down in the dumps that, whoever, it'll be such a comeback. I think the 80-20 thing, the 80-20 signaling, the absolute sort of blatant common sense way that the Democrats are losing everyone, I think fits directly into our long-standing sort of belief here that it is not necessarily an accident that anybody with sort of common sense, who isn't sort of driven crazy by the light of the moonlight or something, sees what Trump is doing and says, okay, yeah, I mean, it's hard to argue. Let's go. Let's switch it over. Because, of course, if perchance he is the Antichrist, he's going to need that kind of support. And if it is indeed his plan, or if it's not his plan, he is simply used as sort of a spiritual or a physical avatar of the book of Revelation and the plans laid out therein. You would need this kind of massive force. What's the word? I forget.
Momentum.
You would need it. This is what would be needed support, to get the support for the guy who comes in, starts the beast system, globalizes everything through AI, America at the top, yeehaw, let's go. Right. And suddenly we're all married to robots and taking a Neuralink in our head.
Right, exactly. So you're bringing up what we've been ranting about for years, which is this idea that you can build a revolution, but in order to do so, you need to first off, you got to ride the wave of the pendulum swinging right left, because the whole left movement, born with Obama and all that came post Bush era, really neocons, a lot of just boring kind of politics. Obama comes around, very popular, gets all the young people on board. And, he pushes more and more and more left, goes very progressive. But there wasn't really, because it was like a younger generation, they didn't have context. They were just like, oh, revolution, we're here. And so now it went so far left, so far progressive. It's like, okay, now we need a counter-revolution. How do you create that counter-revolution? Well, we created a moral vacuum in politics and institutions and governments. So all you got to state is the obvious, and now you have a revolution. There's only two genders. Blah, revolution, Trump wins. Exactly. He's the guy representing absolute common sense, and it's worked brilliantly. If you're thinking about problem, reaction, solution, they presented the problem, the Democrats, progressivism, leftism, and they let it stew for like a decade, right? And then comes Trump, and he's going to save the day because he's bringing common sense. It's
order out of chaos.
Order out of chaos. Yeah, you step back and you're like, wow, this whole thing, I mean, it really is one giant scam, isn't it?
They're good at it. They've been doing it for generations. It's ancient wisdom. It's the mystery schools. It's everything playing out right in front of our eyes.
Which is tough for people like us, because we agree with the common sense. You know what I mean? Yes. It's like, yeah, this makes way more. Yes, there are only two genders. Yeah, this is it's all nonsense. So we agree with the sentiment on most of the points being made, but it's just the greater picture of theater going on that we're pointing out.
And, just real quick, because CM4, it says, I'm completely joking, but that it's the Antichrist when Democrats support a Republican. I mean, that's not a bad thing. Of course, that's a pretty good point. But
he did say we're in a golden age. I mean, he's saying all the things. So,
he's saying all the things.
Yeah.
And, sorry, what was the point you just made?
About the common sense revolution, two genders.
Yes. Yeah. The order out of chaos. Shoot. I had a great biblical reference. I forget the point that I was going to make, though. But yes, it has to, the fun part is, yes, we get sort of labeled as MAGA or Trump supporters or whatever for pointing out pretty obvious things like a lot of what Trump is doing. Even, through Doge and other things, is pretty common sense. Politically, we can agree with it. And also recognize we read the book. We know how it ends. We know how this whole thing wraps up. And it has to look like this. It has to be something agreeable to the sort of majority of people.
Yeah.
This isn't. My brain is a little fried today. I think my sickness. I'm getting over it a little bit.
I think when you dropped 74 links for the episode, I thought something was going on.
They did this to
today.
me. The Technium is winning.
Yeah.
Shoot, what were we just talking about? Anyways, it had to be this way. It's
Yes,
you can both say positive things, like he's a master image maker, and and you can even agree with some of the politics that he's got going on, and also recognize that there's a pretty good correlation with some of the things laid out in the end times that we're watching play through in a way we never have before. And especially, in the sense that if, and I'm not saying he is, but I'm saying if he does play some sort of revelation role, it's right there that, it's going to be deceiving to most people. There's a remnant, back to the sort of 80-20 idea. There's going to be an 80-20 who are kind of like, nah, Trump couldn't possibly be the Antichrist. And then the 20 is going to be like, guys, come on. He's got a golden statue.
And the 20% are going to be the ones that are imprisoned and killed and all this kind of stuff, right? If we're following the logic there. Yeah, wouldn't that be the thing when the 20% left that get labeled Democrat, get labeled progressive, leftist, whatever, are amongst those 20% are the saints,
just dissenters. It doesn't even have to be Democrat, Republican.
Like, I know. I'm
there's
just
a
saying.
Good chance. Just to join you in this. It doesn't even have to be Democrat, Republican. It's quite possible that it's already the case that the distinctions between Democrat and Republican really don't even apply anymore. Between the far left, traditional. The far left lunatics, and then the MAGA and then the Republicans who hate Trump. The whole thing is all scrambled up. Even if those terms, almost certainly those terms won't be sort of applicable in the way that we think about it. But there will be an 80 and there will be a 20. That's we can be sure of.
Right. Let's move on to DJ. What was his name? DJ
Daniel?
Is it DJ Daniel?
I think.
That would be extra interesting.
Is that the kid?
That's the kid.
That's the kid.
The brain surgery.
Yep. So this is a very interesting fellow. Let's go ahead, play this first one real quick. This was a moment. We don't need to play it all the way through, but I'll let you make the choice there, Gons.
Sure.
This is a child who's in a police uniform there sitting at the State of the Union address. He is a pediatric cancer survivor, and I think Trump tells us a little bit here.
Daniel, he is 13 years old, and he has always dreamed of becoming a police officer.
His dad lifts him up, crowd cheering. All right. Let's get to the part where they talk.
Get to the Trump part.
But in 2018, DJ was diagnosed with brain cancer. The doctors gave him 5 months at most to live. That was more than 6 years ago.
The Democrats.
The Democrats look really distressed. There's a lady, I don't know who this lady is, but she's just she's listening to her earpiece. It looks like she pushes on her earpiece to hear what's going on. But yeah, they don't look very happy right now.
No, very glum. Some of them are giving like a little golf clap, but they're all sitting down.
Because you gotta. I know they were told not to clap for that, but come on, like you gotta be gotta be really cold to just.
It gets worse.
No clapping.
His dad have been on a quest to make his dream come true, and DJ has been sworn in as an honorary law enforcement officer, actually a number of times. The police love him, the police departments love him, And tonight, DJ, we're going to do you the biggest honor of them all. I am asking our new Secret Service Director, Sean Curran, to officially make you an agent of the United States Secret Service.
Wow. How can you not have like a little tear, tear?
And it's quite obvious that this kid didn't know it was going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, he had a very surprised look on his face.
Kids can't fake that kind of thing. Kids are very honest in that way.
There's a moment after this where he hugs the guy here. I don't know the gentleman's name, but
he's a Secret Service director.
Secret Service guy. Yeah.
They give him a badge. They give him the whole thing. I mean, what's not to love about that? Come on. How could the Democrats possibly find something bad with that? It's a beautiful moment, making this kid's dreams come true. Best day of this kid's life. Well, as we know, if anybody can ruin the best day of somebody's life, it's Rachel Maddow. So let's see what Rachel Maddow has to say.
For the record, and this is disgusting, the president made a spectacle out of praising a young man who thus far survived pediatric cancer. As if the president had something to do with that. This was in the midst of him praising Doge. The Doge cuts, among other things, have cut off funding for ongoing research into pediatric cancer.
Has so far survived cancer. Rachel Maddow, come on.
Rachel Maddow, the whole thing is disgusting. I mean,
so disgusting. Giving this kid the best moment of his life, being applauded by the.
If she's like if she's a red pilled, I don't know, or maybe black pilled, I can maybe see that whole thing. Like, oh, they're taking advantage of this kid's condition and all that, and like making it something emotional, and it's very deceptive, very evil. So I guess that's what she's trying to say. But yeah, I don't know about disgusting. Disgusting. You really got to lean into your cold heart. If you're
I mean, again, obviously, every single thing said and done here is a creation. It's a piece of theater. And can you make a case that Trump was maybe exploiting this kid in some way to get some media points? Sure. Yeah. I mean, just as much as anything else in there.
That's what everybody, this is the game. This is the theater. It's the game. Well, I have mixed feelings as well, because I'm not going to go as far as Rachel Maddow here and agree with her and say that this is disgusting. Obviously, I don't think it's disgusting. At that level, it's very, I don't know. It was one of those moments that, even I had a little tear well up in my eye hearing this whole thing. But there is a part of me that wonders, like, what is this setting up for? Like, what is the precedent being set here? Is it simply to take care of people, that have problems or issues or have dealt with things, or is something else going on? And you had this clip, Basil, this 1-minute clip from the White House X account of DJ Daniel talking about it. He's very well spoken, very
he is
mature.
a grown man. Like he is a grown little man. He's 13
he sounds
years
like
old.
So we'll play that and then share some thoughts here.
Because my mom bathes me and my brothers all together, and out of nowhere I locked up, and then my dad was calling my name, and I started going to the slow thing, and he said, "Stop playing with me," and then I started to act, I ain't gonna lie, I started to act slow, and then as soon as he said that, we was speeding all the way, running lights, going to the hospital, and then next thing you know, I was seizing on the table. They said, "No, we gonna have to go in his brain tonight." Ever since then, I had 13 brain surgeries, and that's how many times my personality has changed, and that's something that you don't hear from a terminally ill child. They had 5 months to live. I'm gonna keep on going until my gas tanks run out. And that's when God calls you home. You never know when God's gonna call you home. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my dad. And I know he's pretty proud of me, and I'm pretty proud of him too. And I'd like to thank President Trump, because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here today.
There you go. Very well done. Louise. Very sleek. I mean, yeah, it's heavy. But yeah, a couple interesting things. One, his personality changed 13 times or something. Is that what he said? Yeah. That's really interesting, coming from, having done research into multiple personality disorders. What the late Russ Dizdar did work on, which was satanic ritual abuse, and how trauma can split personalities, and the occultists would assign demons or demonic presence into those sub personalities that later come out and things of that nature. It's all like kind of woo woo for most people, but you start looking into it and it's like, oh wow, there's like a mechanics or like a protocol going on here with that kind of thing. Not that he was part of that, but it just reminded me of some of those things. But also knowing how close Trump and Elon are getting with, and knowing Elon's ultimate thing with Neuralink, there's just a part of me that's like, oh man, what is there any? Because I'm sure at some point, even Elon just being considering him a normal human, not a robotic, I don't know, technocratic robo alien, he must have thought like, oh, I wonder if Neuralink can help this kid out, and not as like a, oh, I'm taking over the world type thing, although who knows, but in the sense of like, can I help this child? And that's where, this is where these kinds of ethical questions are going to start to really be in the front of in the forefront of conversation. These ethical questions: is it okay to get a brain chip? Is it okay to get a brain chip if you have certain issues with your brain? How can you argue against?
That's part of the interesting thing. Like you said, this kid specifically, but the concept, I guess, in general, is not just a side thing. It is a core principle in, again, what if you've read the book, it is a core principle of technopopulism, of the technium, of transhumanism, that this is, this is part of the plan. It's part of, what needs to be normalized is what needs to be venerated. Right. Eventually, it's what needs to be required. It's kind of funny. I was watching this live stream of a bunch of guys, and they were kind of just discovering the idea that like quantum computing and
there's a lot of that
government like it's funny to watch. There's like funny to watch. Formerly normal people are just finally being like, wait a second, it's all connected? You mean it all has to do with everything? It's like, yeah, if you read the Bible you would have known that a long time ago, but I'm glad people are catching up. It's good. I'm not trying to bash them for it.
So, I just raise those questions and just keep, let everybody understand, or at least, ponder those things and not just fall for the emotional stuff. Because, again, there are levels to this. At a certain level, this is a great story and, it's a great moment. But then you kind of start looking ahead. You think about the implications, the social implications, the narrative being pushed here, and where that can lead. Because you think about a pump and dump, Basil. This could be a great sentiment pump, but these kind of things that could be taken advantage of. And
well, it's a play, and it's not just a political play either. That's like a beast system play. We're talking about an eternal play, which again, you can get the warm and feelies, warm fuzzies about the story and the kid, and you can shed a tear, and you can be happy and all these things, and know that it's all part of the plan, baby. Yeah, it's all part of the plan.
But you hear his cadence, and just the mention of God's going to call you home one day, and he's not lying there. Yeah. So there's something. A 13-year-old kid sounds more wise than most of my peers.
The sort of spiritual maturity that this kid, that's been sort of thrust on him is very interesting.
But of course, the low-hanging fruit, the people making images of this kid, DJ Daniel, next to the Democrats who are holding up signs and, looking very sad, all together with another picture on the bottom too. This is one image. It's DJ Daniel on the left, Democrats from the State of the Union on the right, and then on the bottom left cell is George Floyd, and then on the right is Nancy Pelosi and crew. Do you remember when they were wearing masks and they put on their African? The cloth there, and they kneeled as a way to show solidarity with the whole Black Lives Matter movement, and specifically George Floyd. So the difference there, the contrast.
Is that what it is? I was going to ask, is this a juxtaposition or is this a comparison?
It's supposed to be juxtaposition.
Yes, the Democrats holding up their false sign or whatever.
Right.
Or Musk steals sign at this kid who's having this wonderful moment.
Black kid, yeah.
Yeah, versus the kneeling.
George Floyd is a kneel, put on the African thing.
Kente cloth thing. Got it. Yes.
Good times.
All right, you want to bring us this last clip of yours here, and then we can thank somebody.
Sure. Well, yeah, there's a couple more things to cover with. I mean, again, we can't cover it all, but this was one of those moments that, it's just another one of those moments. To set it up, I remember, and I don't have the clip. I wish I had the clip. Years ago, this is before Trump's first presidency, leading into 2017. So it was probably late 2016. Maybe it was like right before he took office. There's a clip of Alex Jones talking about Trump, and obviously he was pro-Trump at the time. He still is now. And he was saying, they're going to have statues of Trump on Mars.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, what are you talking about, Alex Jones? But I think he might be right.
Lead humanity into space and plant the American flag on the planet Mars and even far beyond.
There's Elon cheering. Everyone's standing up, clapping, cheering. Or at least half the building is standing up and cheering. The other half, the Democrats, are not. They don't want to go to Mars. In fact, I believe somebody left. Right.
Yeah, throughout, there was some notable Democrats who would get up and walk out at notable times.
There you go. But yeah, I mean, hey, the Freemasons allegedly have a flag up on the moon, and the Americans will have a flag up on Mars, thanks to Elon Musk.
And the statue of Trump on Mars thing is not that wild when you
I don't think so,
refer to like his Gaza video where he was going to put a golden statue of Trump in Gaza.
One in Gaza, one on Mars. I mean, it's just he's King Trump.
Teleport between the two of them.
Well, there you go. That's what it'll be. It'll be Project Stargate.
Gons, before we get too far, I want to take a second and let everybody know that what they need to do right now, take out your phone, open up your text message. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to text the word Canary to 877-740-3226. That's Canary to 877-740-3226. Do it right now so you can be like 708, who says way behind, but it had occurred to me in 2017 that the Democrats were trying to lose on purpose. Either that or they're completely out of touch. Both seem possible. The question is, which one is likely? Yes, a real text message from a real Canarian who is part of the Canary Cry text message alert system. Text Canary to 877-740-3226. And yes, you will get an alert. You're not going to, dude. So Gons and I went through some analytics the past couple days, and you can actually get some pretty specific analytics. And the analytics of people receiving the notifications for us going live from things like YouTube and Rumble is functionally zero. I mean, there's some.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
There's some, but functionally zero. And so, when I say you're going to get unsubscribed, you're going to not get notifications, you're going to do this, I'm not joking. The numbers are there. So I will say, subscribe to the channel. If you're here right now, click the subscribe button, turn on notifications, and when you get unsubscribed randomly, and when you don't get notifications, you should be on the text message alert system. Because if you do, you'll get a message from us just before every show. But let's be honest, what people really love about it is they can text us back. I read all of them. I read a bunch on the show. I can't carry on a text conversation with you because it's very expensive for us. Somebody just tried to do it, which is a good reason for me to say, when you text Canary, no exclamation point. Just do Canary, just the word. It's an automated process. I can't do it on my end. So just text the word Canary, nothing else, and you'll get put on the list. I see you, 540. Try it again. But like I said, people like sending messages. We read them on the show. It's very fun. And also pay attention to the area codes because Canarians are finding each other in their own area codes through this. 831 says, just placed an order for Cage Rattler coffee last night. The anticipation is getting the best of me. Can't wait. Well, that's a good reason to mention Cage Rattler coffee.
I did see a help ticket, or I guess you could call it a ticket.
For what? For Cage Rattler coffee?
Yeah. Somebody's saying that they don't know if their coffee's going to make it to them.
Well, so we're not the owners, by the way.
Yes, I know.
Cage. No,
Yes,
I'm not
just
saying it to
people
you.
know.
I'm saying it to
No,
everybody else.
I know.
Okay. So if there's something, if you need to ask a question or change your address or do something like that, is there a contact form on Cage Rattler Coffee?
Yes, there's a contact.
There is. Okay. Use that contact form there because Gons and I have no control over it. That's producer created. Producers putting their skills to work, roasting some coffee just for us. We got our own guy. We got a guy doing it in small batches.
Here, before you go on,
roasted with love.
Let me play this right here.
Cage Rattler Coffee, where value for value never tasted so good.
See, go do it. I'll talk more about Cage Rattler Coffee a little bit later. But yes, text message alert system. Go do it. Like 507 says, hey, from northern Minnesota. Bibu Zuzu here. Previously of southeastern Minnesota, hence the area code. I heard another 507er get shouted out, and I had to join the CCNT text message alert system to let them know that Minnesota is more than just rocks and cows. Thanks, Timmy Waltz, for that glowing review of your constituents. Have a great show, Canary boys. Thank you very much, Bibu Zuzu. Minnesota Canarians find each other. We got actually a bunch of great Canarians in Minnesota. 519 says, love you guys, Gons. AOD is the reason I am who I am in Christ today. I was going down a slippery slope of drugs and parties when my best friend showed me your video. It changed my life and opened my eyes. Just wanted to say how thankful I am for both of you and pray for you guys regularly. 519, thank you so much.
Well, praise God. All praise goes to God.
Praise God.
Hallelujah.
We ain't nothing. I'm nothing.
And for 580 here, Gons, we're going to call the pray-ducers here in a moment. 580 says, please pray for my dad's blood clot in his lungs. Thank you, Canaries. Praise the Lord always.
All right, here we go.
Producers, assemble!
That's right, pray-ducers. If you're a producer or not, doesn't matter. You can be a pray-ducer. Super easy. All you do is just pray. Pray for the show, pray for us, pray for the producers. And of course, when a request like this comes in, just stop what you're doing, put it in your prayer journal or pray right away. We're praying for 580's dad, who has some blood clot in his lungs. Goodness gracious. We're praying for you. Strength, of course, healing, and comfort and everything for the whole family. Laying it down. Just carpet bomb the whole area with prayers there.
Yep.
God bless. Let's see, just a couple more, just because there's some fun ones today.
Sure.
225 says, hey, Basil and Gons, love you guys so much and appreciate the kingdom work you're doing. I find every episode edifying, and thank you for making me laugh during these wild days. God bless. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
225. One here from 787 says, Benedicion from Puerto Rico. Saw the last episode late. The measles scare has been happening over here since Trump got in office. Love you guys. Benedicion. Yeah, okay, very interesting. Puerto Rico, thank you very much. And I could see the measles thing starting in sort of those. I bet that Puerto Rico is a bit of a testing ground for a lot of things before it kind of makes it to the mainland.
Little petri dish for the West.
Here's a fun one for us, Gons. 785 says CCNT is more fun when Basil and Gons argue. So a lot of people don't like that, but
some people don't like it. Well, you know, we appreciate all the messages, the positive ones. Obviously, are very, like Basil says, 80% of the show runs on good vibes, moral support. Yeah, but you know, sometimes I need the hate. I need the hate to keep me going. Sometimes we did receive a chat message from Mr. Jones X2. Said you guys are wildly unchristian and absurdly misinformed. So just to contrast the variety, the spectrum of opinion that we draw here at Canary Cry. So
I would
you for
maybe
that message.
temper Gonz's thing that he doesn't need more hate. We do get the hate. We're not asking for more hate. Actually, I'm kind of stoked that the sort of hate has sort of faded back into the background for a little bit here, but
I feel like it's coming
it still stands. My proclamation still stands. If you're going to send hate mail, or if you're going to say something hateful, or whatever, just discontent, you have to leave it in a voice message. You have to go to canarycrynewstalk.com. There's a green tab on the bottom of the right-hand side. You click on that green tab. It doesn't matter what kind of device you're on. You can record a voice message. If you have something mean to say, you have to say it on voicemail, and then we're going to play it on the show, so that you and your mother and your pastor can all hear the nasty things that you have to say to another human, another child of God. What are you, a coward? Do it. Put it in your voicemail. Say it with your chest. Say it with your voice, coward, and let everybody hear it. All right.
I love it.
Since I've made that invitation,
Stop baiting.
Since I've made that invitation, nobody has taken me up on it, except there's been a couple jokers.
Yeah,
all right, so there you go. One last one. 509 says, Spokane, Washington, checking in. It's Wednesday, my dudes. Thanks for doing what you do. Thank you. Text the word Canary to 877-740-3226. I'll say it one more time. 877-740-3226. 803 just joined, says, I can't believe you made me do it. 609 just joined, says, hi.
Can't believe you made me do it.
540 did it correctly and says, sorry, I got it. Canary Cry Radio /support. Thank you, 540. There you go. Okay. With that, let's thank some producers. We're on the value for value model, folks. What are you going to do about it?
Value for value. We take no money from corporations, commies, or cartels.
We know there's people out there who love it when corporations get access to their favorite podcasters so that they can be brainwashed by a voice that they're used to purchase items to solve problems they never actually had with money they don't have either. We get it. It's very comfortable. We've been, since we're kids, watching Saturday morning cartoons. Commercials have been programmed into us to accept it as a way for corporations to control what goes into our minds and our hearts through the media, but not here. We're trying our best to break away from that system, not just because of, financial punk rockery, but also spiritual rebellion. Aligning ourselves with the corporate monstrosities, the worshipers of mammon, to sacrifice the consciousness of people trying to seek some truth or whatever. It doesn't really interest us. And, we don't make the most money in the world, but at least we get to sleep okay at night. It's very simple. If you get any value from anything we do, you have the knowledge. You are equipped with the knowledge, perhaps even the responsibility, that if you want this to survive, if it has value, you have the power. The power is in nobody else's hands. No corporation will pay for it for you. You are also not forced to pay for it. It is simply the knowledge that if producers do not produce the show with their time, their talent, or their treasure, it will disappear. And so every episode is a victory. Every episode is the result of Canarians, human beings, saying no thank you to corporate control of media, corporate incentives being used as brainwashing for the media that we hope to actually break away from those things. It is a conglomeration of God's people coming together to fight the power. And that could be you. And it's not just about money. You can do it with your time, your talent, or your treasure. We have just a few people coming in today to support the show. We're going to thank them real quick. Ready, Gons?
Yep, ready.
All right. Small list today. I was actually impressed. The past couple episodes were pretty consistent, but that can't last forever. We have producer Sir. Actually, real quick, we had another executive producer come in. So let's give them a big shout out.
Okay.
This is executive producer Felicia D.
Where'd you find this?
Thank you, Felicia D. Appreciate you.
Women rule!
Sorry, I'm getting distracted by the chat. I forget that people are having their own conversations in chat. I don't know if this was for me or for someone else, but CM Fort says so many points being made. Maybe somebody could at least have an educated argument. So I don't know if that was for my value for value rant or what. But thank you very much, executive producer Felicia D. Comes in, saves the day so often, and this was a great day to do it. Other than that, we have Sir Marty K coming in under the executive producer amount.
Thank you, Sir Marty K.
For $7.77.
Okay.
And he has an email here. It says, "Hey, fellows and my fellow Canarians, it's hard to get out of tyranny by just following along. The more dictatorial Team Lucy gets, the more rebellious I get. I am the yin to the Lucy's yang. I am a cosmic entity and the guardian and protector of Gonzo's spirit and soul through time and space. Man, lol. Strike me down, Team Lucy, and I shall become more powerful than you can ever imagine. Look, I don't care what the government thinks I can and cannot meme about. I have already been swatted once by memeing the Danish Prime Minister Mette Mette, aka Die Führerin, so they can come if they wanna. Remember, the Nazis were Christian nationalists, and they are back and out in the open now, led by the USA. Quote, first they come for the family at the end of the road, then they come for the neighbor family, and in the end, they come for me. How do you like my new weeping, nerdy trophy wall, by the way? Pick 2 and 3. Yours truly, Marty K. Marty K, certainly a powerhouse over there in Europe, fighting the power. And hopefully that power is the powers of darkness. I think you're a very special character, Sir Marty K. I hope you know that. I know we have some back and forth, razzling and dazzling each other, but you are a once in a lifetime force of nature, my friend. So thank you for the producership.
Well, he did also, just real quick, he sent in, when Americans, Finns out there in a whole world existing outside of U.S. borders, and he has a 20-second audio clip here.
I have zero reference for whatever I'm looking at here, but how to even explain this? Huh?
What's the reference he said? He said that, not sure what this is either.
So I believe
this is for the EU. Wow. So Sir Marty K is he just clipped us being confused about something happening outside of the U.S. border. Which look, we live in the U.S. Sir Marty K. You
can tell us from last episode because my nose is so stuffy.
And also, he did send us another thing that we're not going to play. Sir Marty K. We're not going to play that one. just to let him know. Okay, continue.
Oh yes, we can't play that one.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it, except for Cage Rattler Coffee produced the show.
There you
Cage
go.
Rattler Coffee is on a 5-episode streak, baby. That means producers, they're out there, they're buying coffee. Folks, this is an excellent example of time, talent, or treasure. Cage Rattler Coffee is a producer project. This is not Gonz and I. This is producers making it happen, getting the coffee, getting it custom roasted, doing the labels, doing the thing. It's a whole thing. CageRattlerCoffee.com. A portion of every sale goes to support the show. Hey, if you're going to buy coffee anyways, I'll tell you what, our prices are competitive. I've learned more than I ever thought I would learn about the coffee industry, especially with the tariffs and everything going on. You know, it's a little wacky out there. And I'm looking around at other coffee. I'm like, our prices are incredibly competitive. So you got to buy the coffee anyways. You might as well buy it from CageRattlerCoffee.com. And,
coffee.
You know, it's kind of like producing. It's producing in a way. It's supporting the show for sure. And it's all about that parallel economy stuff, you know. We're going to need to, especially going into whatever's going to happen in the near future with the economy, the tariffs, the bond yields. Things are getting wild out there. And so when it comes to, I guess, God's people having to exist in the world but not be of the world, our money has to go somewhere. And for me personally, I am buying my coffee from Cage Rattler Coffee because keeping the sort of economics of Canarians in the family of God, I think, is a very important thing. So go over there, and if people keep buying the coffee, they'll keep roasting it. So if you support the project, go support the project. You're not only supporting the show, but you're also supporting producers and their families who are, you know, making this a business. And I think this is a good what's the word? Inspiration too. If there's any other business owners out there, I mean, that's the thing. If you make something called Cage Rattler Coffee and support the show with your profits, that is a great way to endear yourself to other producers of the show who have to buy products anyways. There you go. And we have the new Cage Rattler coffee jingle. So thank you very much for that.
Yep. Do you want me to play it again? Hold on.
Yeah, might as well. Who made it?
Let's see. That was
Cage Rattler Coffee, where value for value never tasted so good.
I believe this was from Shoefly. Let me just read the note real quick from Shoefly, who sent it in. I know it's not a competition, but I've been a dedicated listener to the show since 2012, maybe 2013, I think. You guys remember the CCR 100th episode that was super long? Of course you do. Haha. I remember listening to the whole thing at one time on a road trip from Portland, Oregon to Eureka, California. Those were the days, huh? Anyway, a couple weeks back, I sent in a couple scriptures set to some tunes I made asking the producers to pray or financially support my mother-in-law's cancer treatment. Cage Rattler Coffee gave to her support, and so I made a Cage Rattler Coffee jingle as a way of saying thank you. There you look at this.
Beautiful.
This beautiful economy we have here.
Value for value.
If the producers feel led, please continue to pray for my mother-in-law's cancer treatment, that it would be successful if it's the Lord's will. Also, a donation in any amount would bless her greatly. We'll put that link back in the description there. It's a little GoFundMe for Shoefly's mother-in-law. So,
of course,
who's battling cancer. So, thank you very much, Shoefly. We appreciate you coming in with your producership here.
Amen.
And, prayers for your mother-in-law.
Germ says Cage Rattler Nicaragua medium is amazing. I'm drinking it now. Psalm 40 says Cage Rattler, good name for a strong brew. We got the Nephilim Hunter dark roast over there, folks. We got the Emu Wrangler medium roast. This stuff's coming from Nicaragua, from Peru, from Congo. It's good stuff. So go check it out.
It wasn't loading on the page. There it is.
Shout out to 559, who says, I finally joined. I like you, but I'm not in like with you. Well, thank you very much, 559. I believe that our like can grow. All right.
Okay.
You got anything else you want to do? You want to do some stories?
I do.
Want to look at art real quick, looking at the time here.
Let's knock out a couple of these stories. I did cross out a couple of them, Basil. They were. I'll just read the headline for people who may want to, dig deeper. AP, this is still coming from the Trump thing. AP, Trump fuels Greenland's independence fight with his talk of seizing the island.
Sure,
yeah.
Love to hear the clip of that.
Yeah, Reuters, U.S. cuts intelligence for Ukraine, adding pressure for peace deal.
Yeah, it's starting to look like that Ukraine deal might start working out in Trump's favor. Just saying, some stuff going on there.
Let's see. U.S. Oh, here's the other thing. U.S. lists Department of Justice FBI building in Washington for possible sale. So some real estate.
Who needs it?
Government getting into some real estate sales. Who needs Justice Department?
Non-core operational buildings, I believe, was what Kash Patel was calling these things.
Yeah. Great. Speaking of the FBI, I do have a secondary story, just real briefly about the FBI.
A lot of it's a hoax. It's a hoax. I mean, it's a money-making industry, okay?
Unindicted co-conspirators.
Washington Post, who has a new mandate to, talk about personal freedoms and free markets or something.
Yeah.
That's at least in the op-ed
from Jeff Bezos.
Segment. Directly from Jeff Bezos. And who was the guy that was there before, had to quit because he could not possibly write articles about personal freedom or free markets.
Yeah.
The Washington Post headline here, read the resignation letter by the FBI's top agent in New York. James E. Dennehy, the top agent in the FBI's New York field office, announced his forced retirement to his staff Monday in an email obtained by the Washington Post. The Post has reproduced the text of the letter below.
It's weird. Reproduce the text of the letter.
Yeah, you got to make it look nice. All, comma. Not, hey, friends, hey, family, hey, whatever, crew, what's going on? All, comma. Late Friday, I was informed that I needed to put my retirement papers in today, which I just did. I was not given a reason for this decision. Regardless, I apologize to all of you for not being able to fulfill my commitment to you to serve as ADICNY for at least 2 years. But as I leave today, I have an immense feeling of pride to have represented an office of professionals who will always do the right thing for the right reasons. Always. Who will always seek the truth while upholding the rule of law. Really? Okay.
Doing the right things for the right reasons means different things to different people.
Yeah, that's
Mr.
what I'm saying.
FBI.
Like that's a very subjective. You can use that subjectively to anything. Who will always follow the facts no matter where they lead and be unapologetic about it. Okay? Who will never bend, break, falter, or quit on your integrity. Okay? Who will always handle cases and evidence with an overabundance of caution and care for the innocent, the victims, and the process first, and who will always remain independent. Really. The FBI, I didn't realize that they were independent of all that. I mean, this whole thing is just full of probably falseness.
Yeah, what is actually that supposed to mean? I don't think, independent from what? Independent from the government? Independent from the will of the people? What is exactly an independent FBI supposed to mean? I don't know if that's inherently a good thing.
Yeah, I don't know. So with that, this is back to the letter. So with that, here is my final top 10 list. A top 10, what? Top 10 things I'll miss about the FBI. This is what he sent to his people.
Is he starting a Substack? Is that what he's doing?
He's start a Substack. He's practicing his chops to get a Substack going.
Is he really? Do we know?
I don't know. I mean, he must be. He already had
podcast
his draft.
Or a Substack. If he's doing a top 10 list, he is trying to build something.
Yeah, and he's very I'll just read this. Top 10 things I'll miss about the FBI. Number 10, the commute to work. Not
good one.
Ha ha ha. Very okay.
Because he works from home.
Yeah. Number 9, the investigations. Doesn't matter what squad you're on, the work is the best in the world.
Okay.
8, the intensity. You have to be in it to realize what I mean. But we all know how significant what we do is. All right.
This is so cringy, dude.
Is it weird? Number 7, the FBI brand. Do not fret. Those 3 letters still mean something, and there's only a select group of folks in this world, past and present, who can say they're with the FBI. Be proud of that. Be proud of that, everyone.
What the heck?
It's the FBI. The brand is still good, okay? The camaraderie within our own bureau family and with all law enforcement, local, state, federal, and international. There is no better fraternity in the world. Number 5, the opportunity to put on a suit and tie to conduct interviews in the morning, throw on some street clothes to conduct surveillance in the afternoon, debrief a sensitive source in a safe house overnight, and then get up early for a SWAT arrest the next morning, then rinse and repeat.
This is unsettling. I feel like he's trying to make this like, hey, we're just people who love our jobs, and we just love being cowboys. It's the brand, the FBI brand. It's as good as you ever wanted it to be. But there's something about A, the existence of this list, and B, the things on it that's just like,
this is weird.
It's just giving me the heebie-jeebies a little bit.
Yeah. Number 4, the badge. What it took to earn it and what it means to carry it.
Okay, weird. I don't like it.
Yeah. Number 3, the independence. There you go.
That's also not good. That is also not good.
We will not bend. We will not falter. We will not sacrifice what is right for anything or anyone.
The brand, the badge, like a lot of these things have like a weird vanity aspect to it. Like we're better than other people because we're the
better
FBI.
We're a better brand.
And then the independence thing, like nobody's our boss. We just go around, we do whatever we want. Go swat someone, stay up all night, never see our families. It's a good time, bros. The FBI bros starting a fake white supremacist group called Patriot Front. Do you know that Patriot Front officially disbanded the day after Christopher Wray left?
Yeah, I'm not.
Did you know this?
I didn't know that, but
I did not know the timing. The day after Christopher Wray left,
it was his
Patriot
idea.
Front officially disbanded.
I'm sure it was his idea.
Obviously,
his independent thoughts.
It's his pet project.
Yeah. Number 2, the impact. Our work helps shape foreign policy, community awareness, international relations, wartime decisions, and public safety. Every period, single period, day period.
That's not necessarily a good thing.
Why is the FBI doing that?
Why is the FBI shaping foreign policy?
No, that's what I'm saying. They're not the ones supposed to be doing that. Number one, all of you, every single one of you who has earned your position within this phenomenal organization. I've been told many times in my life, when you find yourself in a hole, sometimes it's best to quit digging. Forget that. I'll never stop defending this joint. I'll just do it willingly and proudly from outside the wire. Semper Fidelis. JD. There's
a weird obstinance there. There's a weird obstinance with that last one.
Mm-hmm.
Can you read it again? Guys, you scrolled away quite fast.
Yeah, sure. All of you, every single one of you who has earned your position within this phenomenal organization.
Not that, just the last paragraph.
I've been told many times in my life, when you find yourself in a hole, sometimes it's best to quit digging. Forget that. It's another word, but I'll keep it family friendly. I will never stop defending this joint, meaning the FBI. I'll just do it willingly and proudly from outside the wire.
I mean, that is some full-on deep state talk right there. Like, doesn't matter. I don't care what they say. I don't care how much trouble I'm in. I don't care what people don't like about this. We're going to keep doing it. Doesn't even matter if I'm in the FBI, because it's deep state stuff. I don't need to be in the FBI. It's kind of like the CIA in that way. Wow. Yeah, that's disconcerting. Okay, cool.
Yep. Just along the same lines here, I'm going to skip around a little bit just to try to get through this, but along the same lines here, we covered ESG quite a bit during the pandemic. It became more popularly known or talked about because of the just during the pandemic, people were learning about the Great Reset. They were learning about the World Economic Forum. And we, along with a few others, had identified ESG, environmental, social, and governance, this sort of mandate that BlackRock spent billions of dollars pouring into various companies and projects to get ESG going. Now, they have since pulled out of a lot of those because they were not making money. There was no returns on any of that stuff. In fact, I believe BlackRock was even scammed to some extent. Here's a New York Post article that just came out today. Democrat backing fintech executive arrested for allegedly defrauding investors out of $145 million. And just the quick of it here. The Democrat backing multimillionaire founder of a climate-friendly banking startup whose celebrity investors included Leonardo DiCaprio, Orlando Bloom, and Drake, was arrested by federal authorities this week for allegedly conspiring to defraud investors. Joseph Neil Sandberg, 45-year-old Orange County, California resident, who billed himself as an, quote, anti-poverty advocate, was taken into custody on Monday after he alleged to have cheated two investors' funds out of $145 million, according to federal prosecutors. So yes, the climate-friendly banking, that is ESG, straight up. That is ESG stuff.
Yeah, right.
And for this to come out, and I'm sure there are other frauds that occurred, but some people are probably not very happy about some of the investments that they made in certain projects during this last period, and we'll probably see more of this as time goes on here.
I mean, it's funny because ESG was one of those things where anybody ahead of time looking into it is like, this is a scam. This is a scam.
Yes, we called it a scam, too. And it turns out,
literally a scam. Like, literally all the banks who are putting ESG into the 401k programs and investing other people's money and all this stuff, everybody lost money. And this particular one, an actual literal scam. It's more scammy than we even meant it at the time, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a spiritual, philosophical scam, but this is a literal, tangible scam, at the tangible level. So there you go. That's something to kind of keep in mind. Now, I do want to hop into a couple more of these things here. A real quick Flippy update.
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
No, everybody misses the Flippy update.
It's time for the Flippy update. Flippy is our colloquial name for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. We use talking about Flippy as a way to explore all the new, fun, and exciting ways that robots are taking over the world, and how there's nothing we can do about it. Gon's bringing the Flippy update.
Cyber guy, tell us what's going on.
It is straight out of a Terminator movie. Scientists have created a biohybrid robot hand that's part machine and part living tissue. I'm the Cyber Guy. Follow me at cyberguy.com. That's where my newsletter is free. Researchers at the University of Tokyo and Waseda University in Japan have combined lab-grown muscle tissue with a 3D printed plastic skeleton to make an artificial hand that can actually grip objects and make gestures. They've dubbed these muscle bundles mamutas. Think of them as like sushi rolls made of muscle fibers. It's kind of gross, but it's true. The hand can form a scissors gesture and even pick up this slender tube. And get this, it gets tired after use, just like our own muscles do. Talk about lifelike. This is still early stage research, and the hand currently needs to float in liquid to work properly, but it is a huge step forward in biohybrid robotics. Now, who knows, in the future, this tech could lead to advanced prosthetics or even help us better understand how our own muscles work. More crazy cool tech like this at Cyber.
Okay. That's
crazy cool tech.
Cyber guy. But there you go. You got some Terminator lab-grown muscle biohybrid robot hand. It's coming to life only in Japan.
It's all happening.
Only in Japan. And to piggyback on that story, there's a new product out, Basil, from Cortical Labs. We've covered Cortical Labs in the past, but they have introduced CL1, the world's first code-deployable biological computer. If anyone's been watching or had seen Age of Deceit 4, you might...
This is an actual, like a consumer product.
Yes. Real neurons are cultivated inside a nutrient-rich solution, supplying them with everything they need to be healthy. They grow across a silicon chip, which sends and receives electrical impulses into the neural structure.
So... real quick, because I want to learn more about this. But so we've covered these biocomputers, and just in case anybody hasn't heard of them, they're organoids. They use human stem cells and stuff to basically grow little tiny brains in petri dishes. Then they hook up wires to these little brains, and these brains actually process data like a brain, like a computer chip. There are services, I don't have it on me right now, but there's cloud services where you can go to their website and you can rent space to process using these brain organoids, just like any other computer. And one of the terrifying things that I think we covered it, but people have been passing around lately, is when these brain organoid computers are not being rented, when they're not being fed, somebody's data they want to process, they are put in this sort of screensaver mode where the brain is told that it is a butterfly. And you can actually watch each individual one of these little brains. They go into screensaver mode where they think they're a butterfly just floating around in like a virtual reality sort of thing. So again, these are human brain organoids, not a full brain, but a grown little mini brain. And when they're not being used by people who rent them, they are living a life as a butterfly in a VR simulation, which is freaking people out. But now you don't have to rent them. You can have your own butterfly simulation at home.
It says right here, raised in a simulation. Wow. It's created by our biological intelligence operating system, BIOS. Pretty clever name there.
Oh, yeah, it says it right there. Wait, go back up there. It says right there, it runs a simulated world and sends information directly to the neurons about their environment. As the neurons react, their impulses reflect their simulated world. Yes, these are human brains that are living in a simulation when they're not being rented out. Like, hello?
Yep. The neuron is self-programming, infinitely flexible, and the result of 4 billion years of evolution.
How much is it? Can we get one? I want to set it free.
Let's see. It says programmable organic neural networks born on a silicon chip and living inside a digital world. Here we go, baby. Metaverse. Let's see. Buy the CL1. Let's see how much this thing costs. Let's see if we can get one of these things to help us run the podcast. That's really what I want to know. Let's see. You got a price on here?
Could they be our social media manager?
Or our just accountant. Let's see. It doesn't have a price. I'm not seeing a price on here.
If you got to ask, you can't afford it.
Learn more.
That's what Daddy always said.
That's probably it. Buy the CL1. Come on, give me a nope. It's just they want all the information. They want all
send in. They want to know you're serious.
They want to know They want to know who you are, basically, before you even get access to it, I guess. But there you go. There's some fun things happening there, you know. Hey, and this reminded me, obviously, of Daniel 2.
Yes.
There were some people on X that were sharing breakdowns of this whole CL1 thing, and I quote tweeted this whole thing, or quote posted, and I said, Bible says humans are like clay, Isaiah 64:8. Daniel 2, interesting, Daniel today. We got DJ Daniel with the brain surgery, and we get the book of Daniel here today. Daniel 2 prophesied a future time when a kingdom will be part iron, which is strong, and part clay, which is weak or fragile, the human being. This kingdom will, quote, mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they will never fully mix. And then I quote Daniel 2:43, and whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. And, you know, people have talked about what this means in the historical context of when this passage was written, perhaps predicting the downfall of Rome. And there's certainly some pretty good arguments to be made there. But again, you know, a lot of these prophecies, I feel, are somewhat archetypical. Archetypical, is that the word? I don't know what the word is. Archetypical. Yeah, they're kind of like cyclical in nature. They repeat in certain ways. And in our generation, talking about iron mixing with clay, that thing, or whatever it is, mixing with the seeds of men, or mingle with the seed of men, but not cleaving to one another, or not fully mixing. I mean, it sounds like our biological stuff mixing with some machinery.
Well, it also brings up Revelation 9:6.
Yes,
in those days, men will seek death and will not find it. They will long to die, but death will escape them. And we go, well, what the heck? People are becoming immortal without wanting it. They want to die. They can't find it. Well, if you're a brain organoid who is being used as a computer and you're living in a simulation,
I want to die. Oh, you're a butterfly now. You're just
a product. Yeah, we're not going to kill you. You're too profitable. We're not going to kill you. You live forever, and you're going to process information in this little box for the rest of forever. And no, you can't die. Just when you're not working, you'll be a little butterfly and you just kind of float around in a simulation.
Yep, there you go.
That's heavy.
I know, it's pretty wild. We've been talking about these passages for a long time, and yeah, you know, it's funny, people are realizing now, like, it's all connected, it's all going on. Some of them are still missing the end times eschatology.
That's the thing. They'll get there eventually. I mean, that's the thing. Is like people are just waking up and seeing all the technology, all the politics, all the everything coming together. They're going, wow, it's all connected. Look at that. Yeah. Well, it's going to inevitably lead to all these people finding the Bible, being like, oh, okay, we could have known this the whole time. Caleb says, in those days, men will seek death, but will be stuck in a petri dish. Yes, that's right.
The modern translation.
Yeah.
The modern translation. Very good. Thank you for that. And thank you to Psalm 40 for a couple of these memes. I don't think we can get to all the art today, but I do want to share this particular meme that Psalm 40 gave us. It's the Zelensky, Trump, and Vance moment when Zelensky crosses his arms and he's getting yelled at. Except he put my face over Zelensky. Thank you, Psalm 40. He put Basil's face over Trump and just a birdie over Vance.
Yes.
Yeah, the Canarians. And the caption reads, when Gonzo rants about crypto. Thanks there. I appreciate it. Speaking of crypto, real quick here, last thing. Representative Mike Collins announces the acceptance of cryptocurrencies to his congressional campaign. This is PR Newswire reporting this. Representative Mike Collins from Georgia, he's a staunch advocate of emerging technologies. He said, quote, I can destigmatize the crypto industry and advance the future of global finance and innovation. Representative Mike Collins is an entrepreneur, active cryptocurrency trader, and the first member of Congress to trade meme coins. Here we go, baby. We're really in the deep end now, everybody.
LFG's in the trenches. Let's go.
LFG in the trenches. Okay, that's it. There you go. That's it. That's all I have for you.
Very good. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in. Really appreciate it. All of the producers around the world, God bless you. You guys are doing the Lord's work. We couldn't do the show without you. The community would not exist without you. And the text message alert system would not exist without you. If you have ever gotten any value out of Canary Cry, whether it's Canary Cry Radio 10, 12 years ago, whether it's Canary Cry News Talk for the past 8 years, or whatever, the many different expressions of this community over the years, just remember that it only exists because of producers. There's no corporate incentives going on here. There's no mammon worship. It is simply God's people coming together to make something happen. So if you believe that kingdom work's being done here by the show, by God's or I, or by any of the producers, please consider producing with your time, your talent, or your treasure over at canarycry.support.
Yeah, real quick, just a quick thank you to Jonathan F., Modern Day Bible Study, and Sir Salmons. We will share the rest of the artwork that came in today on Monday. So thank you for that. We appreciate it, and we're just out of time today. So
yes.
Yep.
Yes, and so there you go. Thank you to the financial producers. Thank you to the monthly producers. God bless you. Thank you to the producers who send in art and music and everything with their talent. And of course, we've got producers that help out with their time. I want to give a big shout out to Sir Ike, who is the producer who has made so much happen for us. The Supply Drop, the T-Shirt Council. We couldn't do it without him. Thank you very much, Sir Ike.
Thank you, Sir Ike. Appreciate it.
And of course, thank you to the Clippies.
Flippy. Clipping all those videos. Thanks.
That's right. We got Clippies. They clip the show. Those clips they post. I'll say this. Anybody can be a Clippy. Pretty much all the platforms now allow for anybody to clip the show right there as they're watching it. Yeah. And I'll tell you this. If you clip the show, something that's funny or good or whatever, you just want to share, clip it, post it, make sure to tag Gonz or I. That counts. And I'll give you a big old shout out on the show for anybody who does that. Make sure to tag one of us so we know it happened. Yep. But also, thank you to the timestampers.
Timestamp, it's hard work. Timestamp.
That's
yes, sir.
Right. Who are we thinking?
It was let's see, who was it last episode who did this?
I think it was Jade Bouncerson last episode.
Was it Jade episode? Did Jade
I think so. It came in a little bit later, but not
giving it to me. But yeah, I believe it was Jade Bouncerson.
Well, thank you to Jade Bouncerson or whoever did the timestamps. Appreciate it. Very important.
Thank you.
Gabby L says Nettie Potts work great. Sounds like yes. It sounds like my nose can last about one show until it starts getting stuffy again. I did bring my nasal spray to the show, but I realized I don't have a way to put it in that wouldn't insert the sound of me snorting nasal spray right.
There's something called a mute button if you.
I know it's so far away. Okay. I need to be better at that. Thank you to Sentinel for doing the Telegram channel. Thank you to Adam42 for the Discord channel. If you want to join the community, either on Telegram or Discord, go to canarycry.party in your browser, and you'll see a button there. Of course, join the newsletter while you're there. Thank you to Jam for the links. Thank you to Joe for the feedback. Thank you to Clank for clanking. And thank you, everybody. Share the show right now. Just do it. Just hit the share button. If you're not subscribed, subscribe.
Like, subscribe,
there we go. Yeah, we got to remember to do that.
Yeah, share's not in that one, though. We got to put share.
It's one of these things. I mean, this is the tough part. And, of course, nobody's going to do this. We have a handful of people who do this. But it's like if everybody on the show right now tweeted the show, we would instantly, 10x the reach of the show. Yeah. So I would like to encourage you. Please, it costs you nothing. If we just get everybody just hitting the share button and sharing the show, it would help us out. You know, every show I give you some new wackadoodle funny way that you can share the show. All you got to do is hit the share button. Just do it. Even if you're listening on the podcast, even if you're not live, just hit the share button, please, for the love of God. Share the show. And if you're here because somebody shared the show with you, it's your turn. It's your turn now. We call it rattling cages. All you got to do is grab them by the cage, and then you shake it.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
Now want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
Human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
What, are you afraid of looking crazy? What, are you afraid people will think you're wacko for listening to the best podcast they've ever heard? What, do you think they're gonna think you're weird for being right about everything for over a decade? No, my friend, time has run out. The time is here to be just the total wackadoo who shares the show every single time. A Mother at YouTube says, I'll retweet starting next week. Well, that's better than nothing. Thank you very much. Gons, you got any last words?
Gotta go. Thank you, everybody.
Here we go. We're gone. Thanks for listening. Make sure to tune in next time. But until then, think outside the cage.
Remember, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Buy gold. Buy!
Value for value. We take no money from corporations, commies, or cartels.